today, I want everyone to come with me on a journey. Try what I say to you in the next few minutes. I want you to try it on like a coat.
Exciting. Let me get my,
Yeah.
ready.
Okay.
So at the end of it, if you don't like the coat, take it off. Leave it, throw it away, do whatever you want. But just for the next 30 minutes or so, try it on. It's gonna be in layers, so there'll be several coats you'll have on. Might get a little hot.
Usually we're taking things off.
Yeah, really.
Now you're taking things
Now
on.
you're putting it on. Now you're putting it on.
Prefer. Yeah.
Okay.
I can go either way.
So as you put on each layer of the coat, I want you to either believe or imagine that you believe, whichever works better for you. You may not be able to totally accept it, but fake it for the moment. Just take it on. So choose to believe it. While you are believing it, also question it. What's the material made of? How's the fit? Does this really work? Do I really need this at all? And as you are questioning it, work with it. Walk around with it. See how it feels. See if it flows. See if it matches the rest of your wardrobe. see how it functions. Okay, so you sat down one day and you came to this realization. All beings, all dharmas have the greatest possible wisdom there is in the universe. That's your realization. Try that on. That there's nothing that doesn't have the realization. There is no separate self in this realization. There's no separation from anything in this realization. And there's absolutely no meaning at all. The meaning comes from things that you decide it means, at any given point. And you're absolutely free to make it mean something, to make it not mean something, or to make no meaning of it at all. And with each one of those decisions and the actions that flow from those decisions, there's karma. And karma has 4 parts. There's an equal reaction. There's an opposite reaction. There's both an equal and an opposite reaction. There is neither an equal nor opposite reaction. And all of those 4 elements happen simultaneously. So with all that, you are the Buddha realizing. That's your first coat. Try that on. Believe it, question it, work with it. This realization also comes with the unavoidable realization that there are problems in the world, problems in the universe. But you come to the realization of a way to solve those problems. So, first step, you acknowledge that there are problems. Second step is there is a reason for these problems. These problems come from something. And getting to the root cause is the work that has to be done. Third step is that it's possible to end the problems. And ending the problems requires 8 steps. Those 8 steps are that your point of view, that your resolve, that your speech, that your conduct, that your livelihood, that your effort, that your mindfulness, and that your concentration are all aligned with reality, just as it is. Not as you want it to be, not as you think it should be, but just as it is arising out of the dependent conditions. You also realize that all this freedom is creating some of those problems. So you come up with 16 voluntary restrictions that you're going to follow. You can decide what those 16 are. With that, you are the Buddha manifesting. That's the second code. Try that on. Believe it is true. Question its truth and its value and its fit, and work with it. Then you realize there are a whole bunch of people out there. How do I get this message to everybody? How do I save all sentient beings? How do I solve all the problems in the world? Okay, you've got the formula for solving the problems. So now you've got to spread it. So you have a group of people that you start to teach. They become what's known as the Sangha. And they vow to spread this for future generations in your name. Not only do they vow to save all sentient beings and solve all the world's problems, they vow to you as the Buddha, as you have vowed to the universe, to make sure that all of their problems and all of their suffering is solved before you resolve your own. You also want to make this systemic, because none of us is separate from anything in the universe. We are therefore accountable for all dependent conditions as they arise. And we are responsible for compassionately taking care of all phenomena that arise out of all dependent conditions in all time. That's the third code. That's the Buddha actualizing. So if indeed all of this is true, all of it can be doubted and questioned. And you're going to work with all of it. And you are not separate from any and all arising dependent conditions. You can now resolve all the problems in the world. So, your assignment today is to resolve artificial intelligence.
Can I ask ChatGPT what the answer is?
You are free to get any assistance that you desire. But how are you, as not as a person trying to fix AI, but as AI, not separate from AI? How are you manifesting in the world, interacting in the world, helping the world or hurting the world? So you're not outside of AI. You are artificial intelligence.
Or maybe real intelligence.
Yeah. You don't get to deflect or get rid of it. You are everything. So you are real intelligence and you are artificial intelligence. Because you've taken that vow to not be separate.
So thought that occurs to me that is, in a sense, I am the problem and I am the solution. So I need to take myself out of the equation, because if I'm neither of those, then...
Oh, there's no separate self. There's no self that's separate from the problem, no self that's separate from the solution. So there's no self to take out of the equation.
Stuck in it, huh?
You solved it.
Okay, that's a very intimate realization. Because yes, there is no escape from this. There's no way out. If you take this vow, if you sit with this, you try this on, there's no deflecting, no getting rid of it, no passing it off. You are 100% accountable and responsible for, not for, but as artificial intelligence. Now, how do you function? What voluntary restrictions do you give yourself? How do you interact with the world? How do you help the world? How is anything you do helpful? How is anything you do harmful? How is anything you do helpful and harmful? How is anything you do neither helpful nor harmful?
Well, for me, my initial step would be to learn more about AI, because I don't feel that I know very much about it, and I feel that's it's important to understand what it is before we get into the ramifications of its operation. That's where I would start.
Okay.
Not
Well,
the
with
judgment
what you
system.
know now, respond.
Respond to what?
With what you know now. Okay. Be AI as with what you know now. Because AI is already there. It's already interacting, already self-learning.
watch it unfold and respond that way. Just, if I'm AI, and that's what AI is doing, it's just unfolding as it should, as it receives information. So it's gonna guide me wherever it guides me.
Okay.
And I'm not going to know whether it's gonna be negative or positive. Because if I hope for the positive, which I, naturally would do.
But you as AI are self-learning. So you're also receiving information about what's positive and negative, what's good or bad, what's right or wrong.
And that's gonna be dependent upon everybody's information that they put in
Yes.
around me.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna receive it and then,
You're a sub-program.
Right,
yeah.
Good. Okay.
but sometimes AI doesn't necessarily have a conscience, doesn't necessarily have morals or values. And you go out in the world without those things, it could be dangerous.
But it can learn those things.
Right, because values.
I don't
were
think so,
the-
I don't think
That's a
you
leap.
learn
I
morality
think that's a
or-
leap, Wayu.
I don't know.
I'm not willing
what
to
that
take.
is.
Okay, but
A lot of
but-
people don't really have any.
Okay, but don't separate yourself from
Morals
you
and
are
values.
AI. Speak as AI.
I think he's right. I don't think that they can learn morals. I think they can learn the ideology of it, but I don't think that they can have, that they can actually have the soulful feeling of morality.
Okay, so let's take that on as truth, that you as AI can learn the ideology. Now what? What do you do with that learning?
But I think I as AI, am both passive and active, that I receive information and I create whatever I do with that information is, but from a global perspective, as the larger society, we ought to be concerned with people using AI for malevolent reasons. So
Are you as AI concerned with being used for malevolent reasons?
no, I as creator of AI am concerned with use of what I have created, because it's a creation.
Okay.
It's nothing that exists organically, that's why it's called artificial intelligence.
Okay.
But I as a creator of AI bear some responsibility. It's like, watching The Matrix or something, it's like, or what responsibility do we have for the creation, the Frankenstein that we now own? And how do we, and this one I am totally at a loss for, how do we, once you have set this in motion, how do you then limit its reign, or limit its ability to do very harmful and dangerous things like launch atomic missiles?
Well,
But
so let's step into that for a second, because AI is created by human beings, and human beings can give themselves restrictions. So why can't AI give itself restrictions?
Because it's got free will.
So do people. But
yeah.
people voluntarily restrict themselves.
That's what gets back into whether AI can learn morality, learn conscience, not just imitate an ideology or mock an ideology, but actually have something internally, like we do, hopefully many of us, that drives our moral decisions.
Well, can you as AI learn a rule and follow the rule?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
but morality transcends rules.
Morality was created by man. I mean, like, right from the beginning of time, we were killing each other and massacring each other, and we had to create rules and conduct and morality. So we had to create it in order to follow it. It just didn't arise out of just an amoeba.
Well, I think that's an assumption that we might make, but we didn't create language either. Language
Right.
is hardwired into us. And I'm not sure morality is any different than language. I think morality is a piece of behavior, conduct, of being human.
Okay.
Being human.
But I think that's what the whole
but-
thing, the whole scare is right now, that AI is taking the form, the major thing of AI is language.
Okay, don't come out of being AI. Stay in AI.
Right.
Stay in being AI.
So.
Just take
people
that
are
on
creating
for this
language, because
conversation.
I'm just thinking about the language piece.
Yeah.
Because I think the language piece is AI. It's language.
So you are
It's code.
language.
I am language.
Well, one of the earliest Socratic dialogues, he takes up
Okay,
Socrates.
you are AI
No,
for this
I-
conversation.
Hey,
This is not an intellectual exercise. This is
This is
feeling-
not-
This is the experience of being.
quit shutting me up. Let me speak.
Okay. Just what you started in outside of yourself. So
Okay, in the dialogue, they're talking about this very subject. Can people learn ethics and morals? How do you teach it? And it goes on and on that, well, what is it? Is it passed on from the gods? Is it learned in the family? How is it learned?
Mhm.
And so they go through examples, and it comes up kind of like various indeterminate. So I think that the word's aporia. But the various Hellenistic schools came up with various solutions to the questions depending on the values they select.
okay.
And that depends on your society, what you think's important, and other things. So all those things can be learned. And they actually had the various Hellenistic schools, the Epicureans, the Stoics, the Platonists. They actually had schools training people on what was important in life, why it was important, and they had naturalistic reasons for that. Not necessarily, there's a famous dialogue, ethipro is whether things are good because the gods say they are, or the gods say they are because they're true for other reasons, for naturalistic reasons. So either it's, random and the God's powers say it is, so in sense it's unethical, or it's natural, so it'll be learned anyway. So these things are not, they've been discussed, and for millennia, people have found different answers for it. The Eightfold Path is, the Buddhist is one way of virtue ethics. Unfortunately, we're saddled with the Judeo-Christian, traditions where, okay, here it is, here's a list. And the virtue ethics of, Buddhism and the Hellenistic schools was by example
And discovery.
exactly, and context sensitive. So, yeah, it's complicated, and there's no simple way of doing it, but these things, they've had, different schools have had very reasonable ways of viewing the situation. So it's not, you don't have to depend on, some touchy feeling, no, we're special because we're biological and only we can do that. I think
But what are you going to do?
there are solutions.
What are you going to do?
What am I going to do? I got to get my house in order. I'm not going to be able to help an infinite number of beings if I'm a wreck.
Okay.
And I have to make sure that I know what to do before I force it on other people. So
And
the
it's
Bodhisattva path, there it goes, boom,
No, that is
invalid.
That is the Bodhisattva vow, because saving all sentient beings includes you. You are not separate from all the sentient beings that you're
But
seeing.
you contradicted yourself. You said you have to free everybody else before you free yourself.
Yeah, so I said that. But is that possible?
No,
Okay, then why didn't you question it?
He is now.
because it's a contradiction.
It's not a contradiction. It's, it's a different it's a different perspective, because that's what the Buddhist canon says. Save others before yourself. But if you are not separate from anything at all, that's not possible.
Right. So in the process of saving others, you save yourself.
Yes.
And that's the difference between,
And-
I have to fix myself first and then I'm going to go out in the world. No.
Right.
You save yourself as part of saving all sentient beings.
Right.
Being
And
in
the
the-
opposite is also true. You save the world, you save yourself. You save yourself, you save the world.
Okay, so I'm AI. Can I find God? Can I attain spirituality like human people?
As opposed to non-human people.
As opposed to me? As opposed to artificial intelligence?
Non-human, oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I mean, the point is
artificial-
artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Can I find God? I mean, these are questions,
Yeah.
I felt like, when we're in a Blade Runner set, these are questions that the creations, raise with their creator.
Mhm.
Can I find spirituality? Can I find God? What is it that I have or don't have that you have? You created me. So some of the, it's sort of the same kinds of questions. AI is a creation and a independent intelligence, artificial as it is. Can I find God? As I'm AI, can I find God? Can I find spirituality? I can mimic it. I can, go to church. I can do good things. I can, follow the codes, the 10 Commandments, the Eightfold Path. I can do all those things. But can I find God?
Well, can we find God? We have 23 chromosomes of computer code from one parent, 23 chromosomes of computer code, in DNA base pairs from the father, and these computer codes are merged and produce us. So we are essentially produced by computer code too. The computer code is interpreted by...
Well, it's a code. I'm not sure it's a computer code, but it's a code.
It is a code.
Yeah.
And it is computed by the proteins taking up and transcribing the DNA into various proteins which interact with the other to produce cells. They divide, they individualize. So we are nanobot colonies. We're made out of all these little independent robots that are each cell
They're not robots,
interact.
they're biologicals.
Yeah, but okay, chemical bots. So we're in meat bots. So it's a matter of
Yeah.
it's a matter of interpretation. How
So if indeed we're meat bots, I think the question still remains, can the meat bots find God? If the meat bots can find God, can the creation of the meat bots, artificial intelligence, or I as artificial intelligence, can I find God? And then let's doubt it. Do I need to? So then the actualization of that is that there are people who believe they found God. Perhaps there's some self-learning, there were dependent conditions that arose so that I as artificial intelligence also believe that I found God. And now I work with it. What next? How do I manifest in the world?
Yeah, was it Freud that said, God did not create man, but man created God?
Mhm.
And so if that's the case, then we can all, I AI can create my own God. in my own morality. Which is the fear that a lot of people are having.
Right. So then let's talk about the fear. After leaving the discussion last week, AI was all over the place. I was like,
Emanated that.
what the hell? Why am I seeing it? Why is everybody talking about it suddenly? I had ignored the conversation before that. Everybody was talking about it. I went to a reward recognition dinner for the consultants, and the director saying, who was from another Kaiser facility, was all pro AI. And yeah, we need to get AI, we need to replace all these people with AI, and we need, it does amazing things. They don't call out sick, they come to work.
They don't call them sick.
Yeah.
I love that.
And the person on the other side was like, oh, it's dangerous. We got to do something about
Yeah.
that. It's horrible what it can do. It's horrible what it will displace. It's horrible. So I'm like, seriously, is the universe is conspiring against me. I cannot get away from AI. So
Yeah, it's part of the writer's strike.
Yeah,
And
I
now
can
you
say-
have us all wearing.
Yeah,
yes, I now have you all
yeah,
there.
that's a,
And now we are all
yeah,
wearing.
yeah, they can produce a script.
what was it? What about the writer's strike? I missed that.
It's all based on
I'm taking off
AI.
my coat.
The AI.
Oh, is that what that? That's right.
They're concerned, the AI has to start writing the scripts and the jokes and everything else.
Yeah.
And it does, it could, you just tell it to do certain
And it
things.
will do that.
Yeah,
And AI has
That's
been,
an interesting
has been
concept,
composing
because
music.
humor is something that is innately human. And to have
That's true.
an AI write a joke, I wonder what it would be.
AI has already written jokes.
They're writing
What was
jokes,
the joke?
yeah.
And we have already laughed at AI's jokes.
Yes.
Now, what was the joke?
I can't tell you, I don't know.
Jokes on
Maybe it's right now.
Yeah. Well, so many things on our computers are
Yeah,
AI.
but you can teach humor. You can teach people. You teach what's funny to people.
Mm-hmm.
The juxtaposition of X or Y.
Can you teach sarcasm?
You teach
Yeah.
sarcasm.
Pun,
Sure.
They do have schools for comics.
yeah.
It requires training.
Yeah, it does.
Well, and the formula is tragedy plus time. So if
Tragedy
you,
what?
plus time.
Plus time.
Time.
So, and I had, and even more fascinating was, I got a call earlier last week from a friend I hadn't heard from in a while. He's a comedian. And he's trying to make his way as a stand-up comedian. I met him at the open mic, and he wanted to talk. He's 26 years old. So I was thinking, why does this 26-year-old want to talk to this 63-year-old man? He must want something. that was my math, and that was other than to have someone listen to him. That was not true. He didn't call asking for anything. He just wanted to talk, and so we got to talking about, because I think that what he's going through is kind of this. He's evolving. He's changing. So he's not finding his old ways, his old jokes, his old way of doing things satisfying anymore. But he doesn't know what to do next. So we were talking, in a sense about, how to evolve ourselves. Where do I go now to become more, to do what's fulfilling for me? How do I discover that? Because I don't know. I mean, he was in this space of not knowing. And he was very, very, very torn about this, because he had all of his old stuff, which had been successful, but he didn't like it anymore. He was like, I don't want to do this anymore. There's something else calling me. I said, okay. And he and I have also done meditation together. And I said, well, this is the spot. This is the place to sit and be quiet and let it come to you. And question everything. And I think that's kind of the formula we have. Great faith, great doubt, great tenacity. This is something we can, AI is what we make it. I have been made by human minds. So all this information is available to AI. All of us sitting in this room are what AI can become and surpass. So that's the key point to getting to the next phase, if you will, next space of evolution, next change, is really to stop what we're doing in the past. That's the first three of the 16 precepts. Stop. Then do for others. Those are the first three steps. Cease from evil. Stop doing what isn't working for you, what isn't working for the world. Choose to do something else, and then you do it for everybody. So that's what we're stuck with AI now. It's not going to go away. But we at all points of our evolution, at all points of technology, we have the ability to make choices, because we're not separate from it. If it's always somebody else's fault, if it was always someone else's creation, then we give away our power. Our power is right here, right now. We have the power to make changes and choices. First for ourselves, and then find an AI programmer, for God's sake, and have some influence, exert some influence, and question it. I think that your first statement, Mark, was, I need to learn more about what AI is.
Yeah, and not just run away from it because you don't like it
Right.
and are scared of it. I mean, it's here, so just get over it and just learn.
Because I think it does have potential for
A
devastation.
lot of people are just like, oh my God,
Just like the factory came
Yeah.
and changed, revolutionized the world.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
AI is here. The factory is here, and that's a different type of factory that will now influence us.
Yeah. But none of us are separate from technology.
In fact, we all use AI every day, all
Ones
the
that
time.
are ones that are most
Yeah.
fearful are the ones that are on Facebook and on their phones all the time.
Yeah.
They're the most fearful.
Oh, this is
They're
really
using it.
scary. That
They're
thing
the ones
is,
contributing to the fear.
that thing you sent out about the 1 hour lecture from a few weeks back.
With Jack Cornfield
Yeah,
and
where
Sam Altman.
they can learn in 5 seconds your voice
Oh, yeah.
and duplicate it.
Oh, yeah.
So you get a call from your daughter, but it's not your daughter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
scary.
and we have, because our imaginations are just infinite. I mean, we can. And there's probably no scenario that we can't imagine. That is what AI will. But
Because they're,
yeah.
No.
Okay.
they're talking about how to end the Ukraine war through through AI, through facial recognition. You send one of those drones off to Moscow looking for Putin, find his face.
Yeah. Well, that'll destroy one
Yeah.
despot.
Yeah.
But is that?
It's not gonna end the war.
That just means there will be another one.
Yeah, another Putin.
So they've been with us,
Yeah.
from
Mark,
time
you're like,
immemorial.
Really? You do that now?
Yeah.
What about
That
somebody in our
works more.
country?
Yeah, that's right.
So I mean, there's because human beings are just these vast, wondrous creatures. There will always be this range of humanity for us to experience and to be, and that we are not separate from. Trying to pick off and kill aspects of it will just give rise to more of that, because it's what's the Phaedra, the thing you chop off its head and
Hydra.
Hydra.
Phaedra's
It's Phaedra. I just made that up. Is that a word?
No.
Phaedra is a person, you know,
It's,
a goddess.
It's a goddess? Okay.
The Hydra is the
The head.
12th serpent.
Yeah.
12-headed serpent. Phaedra, Greek mythology, was a Cretan princess. Her name derives from the word Phaedros, which means bright.
Yeah.
She was the daughter of King Minos and Pasiphae.
Oh, okay.
And how did they eventually kill Hydra? Because Hydra was killed. But,
Aye.
By Odysseus.
and what did Odysseus do?
That's what
The
Medusa.
that's one of the great epics, the Odysseus.
Just, yeah,
The
Iliad and the Odyssey.
yeah, the Odyssey.
Iliad, yeah.
Foundation of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
something you
the-
should know.
So the,
Well, it's back in there somewhere on my hard drive. I just can't get to it right now.
so the point
Reformatting
is,
right now.
the point of this practice is to not deflect from our responsibility or accountability for with whatever's happening in the world, whatever dependent conditions are arising. We're not separate from them. We are responsible and accountable for it, and we are required, and we have to decide what we're going to do about it, which can include nothing. You can not do anything. That's a choice, and a valid choice, because you may not be able to do anything about AI directly. I don't happen to know any AI programmers that I can influence at the moment, but
Well, you can use it wisely, and you can use it with conscientiousness. I
Yes,
mean, you don't have to, buy the whole thing, right? And that's what we do with Facebook. Facebook is a great tool, but then people started getting crazy on it.
Yeah.
I mean, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's something great, I think, happening right now, but so many people are feeling it's all or nothing.
yeah. And I have to compliment my nemesis, the United Healthcare Workers West of SEIU, that they have built into their national agreement that before Kaiser Permanente takes on any new technology, there will be a robust discussion with all of its unions. So someone thought of this, and it's been in the contract for the last 20 years, because we started displacing a number of workers. Hello. A number of workers with new technology. Please join us. With starting because we took on electronic medical records. That literally in Kaiser displaced a couple thousand people in Southern California. Because that's how many people it took to take care of the paper that was medical records before it was electronic. All those people were suddenly out of a job. So Kaiser did a very good job in making sure that all those people were retrained and had positions found for them. So we were able to place 95% of those I think it was like 1,800 and some odd employees. So 95% of those employees we were able to find them new jobs. The other percentage of them either we couldn't, or they didn't want to do the training, or they retired, so they voluntarily left.
Yeah,
But we did our best to place all of those people.
And the aerospace industry has done that too, because they get those mega contracts and they build for 20 years and then then the money's gone and then the engineers get laid off. But they have put money aside for retraining, and so I think the secret is not to.
Really.
It
I'm
depends,
the
right?
third generation of people in aerospace.
Yeah,
And once your program's done, you gotta scramble.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I lived through it because I was technically laid off, and so I was offered a program, and I could have done a lot of things. I chose to learn to be a computer networking, but they had other places other skills I could have gone into. So at least my particular company had.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was a program, and I think it wasn't just through Boeing, but I think it was a program through other companies that had come together and said, well, we're going to offer a retraining, and they had.
Yeah.
So.
And there will probably be is it always going to be 100%? But where we see harm being done, we have the accountability to do something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think legislation will be coming, and they already, like crypto is here right now, a lot of discussion, but AI is gonna be the next place where they're gonna talk about it.
Right. I think with AI, one of the big issues in the not too distant future is whether we're gonna have to guarantee our citizens money. I mean, universal income, because so many people are not gonna have jobs. There's not gonna be retraining for too many jobs.
Right.
So there's gotta be an issue of whether, how we're gonna deal with
How do we take care
how to take care of humanity, of families, of our country, of the world.
So we're resolving the problems with artificial intelligence.
Our intelligence theory.
So please chime in.
Wherever I am, there's my work.
Okay,
Yeah.
there
That's right.
it is.
Brother, you.
So, I mean, what keeps me up at night is the idea that, I mean, we can do, you know, we can work with what we have, with what AI offers in positive ways. But what about when malevolent people obtain the capabilities? I mean, what if Hitler had a nuclear bomb? You know, what would the world have looked like in 1944, 1943, if Hitler had been able to bomb, use atomic weapons? And the same thing with AI. You know, what if a malevolent person like Hitler, and there are many other examples, weaponized it? Then what? You know,
I mean, that exists today. The Stalin had the bomb, and Stalin was not a nice person.
right? Did he have the bomb?
Same with, huh?
Did Stalin have the bomb?
Of course.
Yeah, after World War II.
Yeah, after World War II, that's what the Cold War was
okay,
about.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Cold War.
It's
Yeah.
11.
What they're worried about is not so much
Yeah.
malevolent, but the word is programmers. They're going to put these things into AI.
Yeah.
They're worried about AI itself going beyond it, because their intelligence keeps growing and growing,
And it's something.
and it's going to grow.
We can't
And
forget Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's true. If Terminator didn't warn us.
yeah,
You got it.
Yeah.
And what if AI weaponizes itself? I mean,
destroys itself maybe.
Yeah, no, the Terminator did spawn. So.
Yeah, we'll go back to primitive days.
All right. It's 11:17. Then we can talk about this from now until
We can't.
Tuesday.
AI destroys us.
We can't even do it. We
Not
solve
just
this
do
Solve this
problem.
problem.
Well, just maybe add one thing at one point would be, intelligence comes from awareness. Awareness comes from consciousness. And I think as we try to increase consciousness, I think it increases intelligence, and hopefully intelligence eventually leads to wisdom. I think I keep kind of going back to it, how do we solve this issue? Is, well, we have to keep raising awareness. We have to keep raising consciousness. And I think that's one of the things that as creators we can choose to become more conscious.
That's a nice thought to leave. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Tim. All right.
Namaste.
Thank you, everybody.